yet again with our 7th episode, brought to you by Comic Watch. Comic Watch is your source for all your comics and media news and reviews, written by fans for fans. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Spread the word that we're coming for you, clickbait sites. It's our time now. I'm your host, Cody, coming to you from a tropical paradise, and here's the rest of the crew.
This is Brian from not tropical paradise at all. You can find me on Twitter, Comic Watch Brian, Instagram, Comic Watch Brian, and you can follow my Tumblr at Superhero Book Club.
Hi, I'm Brian Durbridge. You can follow me on Twitter at BK Durbridge. Same with Facebook.
Hey guys, it's me, John Jack. You can find me at my Facebook group for Love of Comic Books. I also do an indie show called Talking Indie Comics with John Jack. And you can find me on Twitter at John Batusi Jack or on Facebook as John Jack. Please friend me, and you're welcome to talk about anything that I talk about here. And don't forget to subscribe to our site or to our YouTube channel, and we do have a Patreon.
Awesome. So before we get to our spotlight for the week, which is going to be Jinx World's Pearl, Brian, what's going on in Newswatch?
Yeah, actually, it's been a really slow week in Newswatch. I feel like we're progressively saying that each week, but this week it really is a slow week. So Star Wars movie news, Star Wars Boba Fett solo film is 100% dead, according to Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. They say that they're focusing on the Mandalorian show that will be on the Disney Play streaming services. Dark Horse Entertainment and Vanguard Visionary Associates are proud to announce a new relationship. This deal will allow Dark Horse to self-produce their own TV and film projects. Hulu and Marvel's Runaway series Season 2 starts in about 2 months, and it says that this season it will be focusing on the reality of being homeless. Star Trek gets an animated series on CBS All Access titled Star Trek Lower Decks. It's about the crew's lowest-ranking officers and their day-to-day life. It's set to be a half-hour comedy show with 2 seasons. Marvel appears to be a mess, or Marvel Comics appears to be a mess right now, as more than a few titles have been pushed back. Fantastic Four, Life of Captain Marvel, Return of Wolverine, Extermination, Ironheart 2 is being delayed as the title has yet to be released. We're not sure what's happening in regards to Marvel Comics and their release dates, but it appears neither do they.
Is that Fantastic Four number 3 that's coming up, or is that a further issue of Fantastic Four?
I believe it's Fantastic Four number 3.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's already pushed back 2 months, isn't it?
Yeah, three got pushed back, and then 4, I think there's a delay in its shipping as well. So, But like the Ironheart news to me was the most shocking. Like, how are you gonna drop a book at the end of a month, number 1, and then have number 2 2 months down the line? Like that's just poor planning. That's a complete failure to plan ahead. They're a mess right now. You're right.
Yeah. I guess that's not really news as much as gossip. I guess we can also have like a gossip corner.
I like gossip.
Yeah. But that's it for the news. That's all I have. Anybody else got anything other than JJ making friends over there?
Sorry, I have real world needs. I'm at the comic book store. I'm at lovely Arcane Comics and More in Seattle, Washington. And they are kind enough to allow me to record here on Tuesdays because in the winter it gets dark here at like 4. So I can't record in my truck like I like to do.
Well, beyond that, I didn't really hear any news that we didn't already cover. I think that that Star Trek series sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching that. That sounds great.
I know who's going to be watching it. Mr. Derbs.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? But it just sounds bizarre. I don't know. We'll see.
Have you seen the Orville?
Yeah, I watched about, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes.
I've watched like 2. I thought it might be something you might enjoy.
It was okay. I mean, it's funny, but it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. Whether it wanted to be like a serious sci-fi, actual like Star Trek, or just kind of off the wall comedy, and it would go back and forth, and it never quite gelled for me. But whatever.
Yeah.
Well, for our spotlight this week, we're looking at Pearl.
Yeah.
Pearl is a comic coming to us from the Jinx World imprint of DC, which was established when Brian Michael Bendis came to DC exclusive. This is similar, it seems like, to Marvel's Icons imprint, which also was kind of established to keep Bendis from leaving. They do creator-owned properties, all four, right?
Bendis and Brubaker.
Right. There were a number of people on Icons, Mark Miller as well. But it seems like there's 4 Jinx World books, right? There's Scarlet, Cover, Murder Inc., or United States versus Murder Inc., and Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right.
And each of these books is illustrated by somebody that Bendis has had great success with in the past. So there's, Alex Maleev, you get David Mack, Oming is on one of the books.
Oming's on Murder Inc. Yeah.
Right. Scarlet is Alex Maleev. Cover is David Mack. We've gone over that ad nauseum. This is really a great vehicle for Bendis to tell the stories that made Bendis great. The stories that are like Powers, that are like Alias. And Pearl is one of the next great books in that line. Brian has been our reviewer on Pearl, so he's here to give you the recap on what's been going on.
Pearl is awesome. So Pearl is a story about an exceptional tattoo artist and accidental assassin for the modern-day San Francisco Yakuza. It all starts at a food court where she and her bestie Kimmy are getting a bite to eat. She meets this boy named Ricky. He is also a fellow tattoo artist. One thing leads to another. A clan comes and tries to kill Ricky, but Pearl ruins their plans, ends up killing one of the shooters. Mr. Mike is not pleased with this information at all. He currently is actually kind of runs the Yakuza and owns Pearl's tattoo shop. He turns her into his little assassin. I believe last issue he called her the porcelain assassin. One of the people that she has to kill is the boy that she likes, Ricky. So far, it's different twists and turns on if she's going to be part of the Yakuza or will she turn her back and join Ricky. The cliffhanger in issue 2 was her at the club with Ricky and the gun in hand. She has a special gun that her dad gave her. In issue number 2, we realize that when she holds the guns, an elaborate tattoo begins to grow and cover her body and face. In this issue number 3, we find out who she joins and what her choices are. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but you can tell that this is going to lead into an epic adventure. This book for me is beautiful, charming. I'm always excited to read Pearl. The artwork is perfect for me. As I wrote in one of my reviews in the last issue, number 3, there were pictures of them at the club. You can literally feel the presence from the club. You could almost hear the music just from the picture. It was great. The transitions in the story is also stellar. Michael Gaydos uses his art and colors leading readers to know what is past and present. His use of colors is thrilling for the story. I'm absolutely in love with this book, possibly one of my top 3 books of all time. It's only been 3, so I'm not going to put it there yet, but it definitely has the potential for me to be like, this is one of my top 3 all-time books. I'm so excited to hear about what you guys think about it.
And then nobody unmuted their mics. I want to hear what Derbs has to say, actually, because I've got some commentary to add on. But
it's really my speed as far as comics go. Very street level. Very. It's pretty gritty, but not. For a comic, it's pretty gritty, and that's what I appreciate about kind of these alternative. Non-superhero focused or centric books from like Jinx World and indie comics as well. But I just find that I binge them so fast. I mean, 3 issues, it's like watching a third of an episode of a TV show I wish I was watching. It just goes by so fast. But it's really stellar. And it's not just the Yakuza. It's actually a couple of Yakuza clans, I think, that are warring. So there's multiple Yakuza clans involved. And I didn't actually catch that the tattoo was linked to the gun. I just thought it might be some type of, I don't know, strange mutation or something that's going on with her when she's getting ready to kill someone. I didn't really link that it actually has to do with that handmade gun that her father built for her. So
yeah, I
missed that detail.
I didn't when I read it, but then in the summary that Bendis wrote, it actually confirmed that it was the gun.
I'm not the best at reading summaries, so I just kind of go. But
I'm also terrible with those.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty new to reading Bendis, and I know that you guys have some interesting. I know Cody isn't like the hugest Bendis fan for whatever reason, but so far everything I've read by him that he's written has been bloody stellar. So there's that. That's all I got.
I think for me, it's not that I'm not a huge Bendis fan. It's that I'm a huge Bendis fan when he's in his element, and this is very much his element. Like him and Gatos, their Alias series was stellar, like out of this world, fantastic. And then there's other things that he's gone and done, kind of more in the mainstream, that just didn't quite click with me. Like his Superman stuff is not clicking with me. His Avengers stuff was hit and miss.
Didn't you? I think I remember you saying that you had kind of a problem with how he kind of brands whatever character he's writing for, like as his own kind of. I think you call it Bendisizing or something like that. Is that? Am I remembering right?
I don't think that was me, but I don't disagree with that idea at all.
Probably John.
Like there is a way of. He has a way of writing a character, and he has a way of leaving a character. For instance, young gay Bobby Drake, right? He outs him. He writes Uncanny X-Men 600 and outs older Bobby, and then leaves. Like, no longer my problem. Puts Daredevil in jail, and then says, "Here, Brubaker, he's in jail now. Sorry."
I have heard that Brubaker requested Matt be in jail at the end of Bendis at the start of his run, though.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that, but that doesn't super surprise me because Brubaker is up for a challenge, and he took that challenge and ran with it.
Well, Brubaker probably had 40 issues planned out and ended up writing 30 of them. Well, he wrote 38, plus a couple annuals and a mini.
Yeah, right. But I mean, like, I feel like this is Pearl and the other Jinx World books are Bendis right in his element, right where he's at his best. Non-superhero, not quite street level, but sort of street level. Social commentary. This is a really strong book. And I mean, Gatos is just crushing it with the layouts. You know, his manipulation of time, like B said, the moments in the club with the background being the boom, 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 boom of the bass lines. Like, I mean, that all of that is absolutely genius, I think.
One panel is like colored as one color of the strobe light. The next one is a completely different color.
Right.
Like, it just puts you there completely. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really well done. It has a very Quentin Tarantino kind of vibe to me. Like, I could see this as a Tarantino film along the lines of Kill Bill. You know, the flashbacks. They flash back 5 years in the past, and it's all in black and white. And, I mean, even Mr. Mike looks a little bit like Vincent Vega. You know, he's got the long hair, ponytail, black suit, white shirt. Like, there's a real Tarantino vibe that's bleeding through for me that I dig. Like, I'm a big Tarantino fan, so.
Minus the, like, kind of tongue-in-cheek, you know, humor. Like, that's not present. Like Tarantino's stuff always has this kind of humorous edge to it.
Right. There's no
That's not here.
Banff wallets or anything like that, but there is kind of that kind of tonal, artistic modality to it, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
JJ looks like he's going to explode. JJ, what are your thoughts on Pearl?
Well, actually, as I mentioned earlier, I only had time to read the first issue, unfortunately. But I do have to say, Gatos' panel layouts are unbelievable, and the art in general is pretty fantastic. Although a good chunk of that is the coloring, which I didn't see if it was Gatos or not. So whoever the colorist is, whether it's Gatos or not, definitely props to them. I do have one minor complaint, which is I've been reading U.S. versus Murder Inc., and it's a very similar plot line with a young female assassin being tapped to murder somebody she cares about, and her potentially doing it or not doing it, which is it's pretty much the premise of Murder Inc., U.S. versus Murder Inc., and also the premise of Pearl. So we have two series that are written by the same person that are the same basic idea, which, if they go different directions, sure. And, 3 issues in, they definitely can completely diverge without too much cost to the series. And, in fairness and, playing devil's advocate, if they both start from the same point and go in completely different directions, that would actually be an interesting series. Those would both be interesting series to read in tandem. But that's its own thing.
It would appear that Gatos did the inks and the colors as well. I don't see an inkist or a colorist, which is kind of his standard thing, so that's not super surprising. But I mean, I think he's one of the top 10 comics artists around. And honestly, like I feel like all 4 of the artists on all 4 of the Jinx World books are in the top 10 of comic artists active today. So that's good on Bendis for grabbing just the top talent and overall really nice guys. Shout out to David Mack, who's been a huge Comic Watch supporter. Gatos as well, Bendis as well. Like we're getting a lot of love from Jinx World, and Jinx World deserves a lot of love.
I do want to mention that the design, I believe, is done by Curtis King Jr. So I'm assuming that has more to do with the layouts.
I'm not really sure what that design credit does. I might get on Twitter and try to find that out. But because Cover has a design credit as well, and I'm pretty sure it's not related to layouts. But I'm not positive.
We'll get back to you guys.
It is mostly like graphic design elements, like the stuff that's commercial.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Another thing, just on that note, when I really kind of pushed to review this, it's not because we've been. I mean, the reason we have a relationship is because we really like the books. I mean, whether we were getting retweets and traction with these guys on Twitter or not, I mean, this was probably the best book I've read this week. And so, I mean, what do you do? It's good. So, meh.
No, not much competition.
Well, there's that too. Although, maybe Punisher 3 was a very strong second for me. I also just wanted to talk about the series as a whole, but...
Yeah. I mean, and we're also kind of missing, we're only 3 issues in, and we kind of chose this as a spotlight, not necessarily because the other issues were weak this week, but just because it's been so strong and it's consistently strong. When I went to review this series, I was like, this issue, I was actually looking for something not negative, but a critique for it. And honestly, for me, I couldn't find anything that I couldn't say was a 10 out of 10. So another thing is, which is funny, if somebody were to ask me, would I recommend this to everybody? The answer is no. I mean, for me, it's my perfect taste. It's my perfect feel, my perfect art. And I would strongly recommend it for people who like a story. And it's not just an action type of book. It's kind of overall the story that I really like. And I want to know what happens next. So I wouldn't, for example, probably for JJ, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for him. But for Derbs, I would totally recommend it. So it's kind of interesting to have different people's takes on it.
Like, one of the things that one of the things that I've seen with Bendis over the years is he likes a social commentary, and I kind of wonder to what level, what degree we're going to see the gentrification of San Francisco, which is a big deal. San Francisco is one of the most egregious cases of gentrification in modern America. So I'm wondering if that's going to play a role with, the Japanese, these, what do they call them? Clans, right? These Japanese clans being pushed to certain areas, being, they control this block, but do they control anything else in the city? And like, I'm really interested in that kind of stuff. But that's, to my personal taste. So, I mean, this is a book that really does speak to my personal tastes in comics as social commentary.
JJ, are you pushing your button to speak? Because I see your finger. Oh, okay. All right. Does anybody have anything in closing to say about Pearl?
Good.
All right.
All right. So why don't we move on? B, I did not think to ask. Did you have any recommendations for us this week?
No, I think JJ is going to take my recommendation. I would like to give a shout out to Justice League Odyssey this week. The art was stellar. It was done by
Stefan Sejic.
Yeah, Cedric. Actually, had that one. Damn it, JJ, you just had to ruin that one. I actually studied for that name, and then I got nervous when I looked at it right now.
It's actually Sejic's last issue because he got kicked off the book after this one, and it got bumped back 3 months for some reason that hasn't been disclosed.
Oh, well, the art was
strange.
great. I'm still going to give it a shout out. Check it out. I'm really liking the DC covers that are coming out right now, because I like shiny things. Squirrel, glitter.
So do I.
Yeah. So I'm really digging that. Like, that's the whole, yeah. So, JJ, I'm going to let you take it off from here and tell us your recommendations.
Sure. This week, I reviewed a bunch of books and I read a bunch of books, and I didn't really like any of them. So I'm reviewing a classic action arc from 1980, and this is issues 510 through 512. There's no arc name. It's not it was never collected in trade, but I have all 3 issues, and I think I paid under $10 for all 3 of them, so it's definitely possible to get. It's Action 510 through 512, and it's written by Cary Bates with art by Kurt Swan, which is the Superman artist. If you're interested in Superman pre-crisis, Kurt Swan is the dude.
Is the dude. You are absolutely right. Kurt Swan Superman is my Superman.
He drew Superman for like 30 years on both books.
Yeah.
He is insanely prolific and insanely just legendary. He died in the mid-90s. So this would be a good opportunity to revisit his work. I highly recommend anything he drew. This is a late Bronze Age issue, and as such, it is a little bit odd. But so Lex Luthor goes straight and starts teaming up with Superman because he has fallen in love with a woman that he met. I wouldn't say it's because she's bald, but she happens to be bald, and so they're pretty funny walking together in a crowd. But he teams up with Superman to fight villains like Terra Man and some other ones over the course of these 2 issues. And the reason this arc stands out to me and has always stood out to me is it turns out, of course, that it's a ruse. Lex Luthor has not gone straight, and of course, it's a ruse to try and. So the plan, as it stands from the start, is he falls in love with the woman in order to invite Superman to his wedding, because he has booby-trapped the woman so that when Superman touches her, it will suck Superman into the Phantom Zone. It's insane.
That is some Bronze Age goodness right there. Like, that is, if there's anything more Bronze Age, I defy you to tell me.
It's amazing, but the best part about it is Lex Luthor at the start of it hypnotized himself to actually fall in love with the woman and to forget that his plan existed. And so at the end of it, he's absolutely crushed and he's destroyed himself. And of course, his plan doesn't work. You know, we still have a Superman, but and the best part of it is one throwaway line of dialogue in the third issue of the arc, where it turns out he killed the woman and cloned her. So, but there was no reason to do that. There's just no reason. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And this is all so that Superman couldn't detect he was lying. So he does all this to genuinely feel the feelings he feels. And it's all in the interest of being able to trick Superman well and truly. But of course, Superman senses a ruse is afoot and scans her, and she ends up getting sucked into this Phantom Zone. And the last panel of the arc is Lex Luthor like crying his eyes out over a monitor watching her in the Phantom Zone, and it is just hands down the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's amazing. Bronze Age, just it's perfect. Like Cody said, it's perfect Bronze Age, just nonsense. It's Cary Bates at his best. Cary Bates is, I wouldn't say he's not a good writer, but he didn't write good stories. Sometimes, like his day-to-day stuff was good, but the stories he wrote, especially towards the end, are borderline nonsense.
Like, to me, that's one of the strengths of Luthor as a character, is that Luthor isn't evil. Like, he's not a bad guy, and in the hands of the right writer, Luthor is a character that is trying, in his heart of hearts, believes that he is doing the best he can for humanity. Superman is a problem because Superman's presence makes humanity feel safe, makes them lazy, makes them not worry about, I don't have to worry about this train wreck because Superman's going to save me. Great to live in Metropolis. So Luthor sees this as a weakness in humans and tries to eliminate Superman to eliminate that weakness. And I always really thought that was smart. I thought that was a smart way to take the character.
The arc does start with Lex Luthor demolishing a building and Superman rebuilding it in seconds with super speed.
Exactly. And that's the point, right? Like, it doesn't matter what happens to us lowly humans because we have this Superman. We have the Ubermensch among us who can solve those problems. So for me, like, to see the humanity in Lex Luthor, to have him be bawling his eyes out, to be, have this great elaborate plot to try to get rid of Superman. Like, I love that shit. I love it.
I think he's done best when he's, obviously sociopathic, though. I mean, so a lot of sociopaths can form attachments, and yeah, I think I think he is evil. It's just because, I mean, define evil really if you want to. That's a really broad discussion, but I think it's just more that he's obsessive, he's arrogant, he's a lot of things you would describe as evil, but he's not an inhuman, unfeeling, unthinking psychopath. He's, yeah. Anyway.
Well, pre-crisis, the official canon reason that Luthor hates Superman is because he made him bald. in an issue of Superboy during a failed science experiment.
Well, to be fair, pre-Crisis, he went through numerous reasons why he hated Superman. That wasn't the only one.
There's one issue in the like early 50s where he's an ex-Nazi. Just one issue.
Right.
He has an accent and everything, and then suddenly 2 issues later he comes back and totally reverts to classic Golden Age Lex, and they just made him an ex-Nazi scientist for no reason, just to out of nowhere.
So Action Comics 510 to 512. They should be readily accessible. Most Action Comics posts number 400 are very, very easy to get. Highly recommend. It sounds fantastic. I actually think I've read this arc. I actually think I own this arc. But if you like it, then let me drop another recommendation on you. Brian Azzarello, Lee Bermejo, Lex Luthor, Man of Steel. It was a 5-issue miniseries in, I want to say, right around 2005. Also an excellent look at the world with Superman from Lex Luthor's perspective. So just want to throw that out there. It was excellent. It's from the same creative team as Batman Damned, which is the infamous Batawang, if y'all are following along.
And the Joker miniseries from 2009, which is phenomenal also.
I think that was a one-shot, right? I think it was a single...
It might have been OGN.
Yeah, I think it was an OGN. Original graphic novel for those who have not done their homework.
Don't sugarcoat it. They need to learn.
Derbs, take us away with some Punisher ultra-violent goodness.
Yeah, ultra-violence, right. This series is written by Matthew Rosenberg. The artist is Zaman Kradansky. Colors by Antonio Fabella. And letters by my current favorite letterist, Corey Pettit. If you've been paying attention, Punisher is just tangled with a couple of defenders, and now Daredevil's about to take him in, and they're on a commuter train and being set upon by a crap ton of mercs hired by Baron Zemo. So right before he swings up onto the car, Daredevil tells Punisher no guns. And Castle immediately shoots the crap out of every hitman that's trying to kill him. And once the first wave is over, Daredevil swings back down and sanctimoniously disarms Frank. And right before the second wave comes, and to which Frank responds with pulling his large Bowie knife out and stabbing them in the face. Pretty much absolutely stabbing everybody and killing everyone that comes at him. He also gets one on the ground in one of the exits and decapitates one of them via a train going in the opposite direction. So a lot more action ensues, and after it's all over, Daredevil fakes a heart attack, and Punisher, knowing he's got a condition, goes to retrieve a first aid kit, and really it's just a ruse by Daredevil to keep Punisher from fleeing before the cops can apprehend him.
The old fake a heart attack to get your friend arrested trick.
Yeah, I know. Like last weekend, right? Yeah, so while he's in police custody, the uniforms and detectives are arguing loudly about keeping an infamous international fugitive in their station lockup. Now, while they're doing that, the 3 guys that are already in the lockup jump Frank, and Frank just proceeds to beat the crap out of all 3 of them. And pretty soon, Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. show up to take Frank off their hands. But not before one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents closes on Frank for a chat. He takes off his helmet and reveals that he's actually Jigsaw. So, so some interesting. There's not like it's an action comic. It's entertaining. It's brutal. Well, the only thing that I don't like about it is Punisher's face, and I think I said that the last time I discussed Punisher 2, and especially because the one on the covers looks totally different from the one inside, and it looks way better. The face of this Punisher kind of just looks like I don't know, some sitcom dad. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I've got for this issue.
There's a splash where he's walking away from an explosion where he does look. It looks totally like one of those Steve Dillon covers from. Was it Steve Dillon on the Marvel Knights?
Yeah, it was Steve Dillon and Marvel Knights. Oh man.
It totally reminds me of one of those, those covers. They all looked almost identical. You could get an issue and then get an issue like 20 issues later, and it'd look almost exactly like the same. It was like, it reminded me of like Golden Age comics when the covers had nothing to do with what was going on inside. Like, it'd just be Frank holding a machine gun or Frank like throwing a grenade. Like, it was never anything that was pertinent to the story, and it was amazing.
Steve Dillon, rest in peace, brother.
But the issue I thought was just amazing. Like, it was so. That is the one exception for last week. As I said, I wasn't super impressed with most of my books last week. But of all things, I loved Punisher. It was amazingly fun. He killed at least 50 ninjas, which is all I could hope for. Where do these ninjas come from? It seems like they're always training, but there was always 150 of them everywhere you go, and they all die. I love how Matt kept trying to get him to stop killing people, and he kept killing people.
Where are these ninjas getting all their throwing knives? Why can't you just give them a damn gun? It's one of the things I hate the most about. I don't know. Come on.
It's not the way of a ninja, man.
I was talking to someone about how many shadowy ninja organizations do you need between Marvel and DC? You've got Cobra, you've got the League of Assassins, you've got the
Hand,
Hydra kind of, not really ninjas, but there's
the Foot Clan.
Yeah. There's the Brotherhood of All. There's the Nanda Parbat ninjas. The list. You can keep going for hours.
The All Cast.
The All Cast. That's what I meant.
And they're just one faction going after Frank right now. Like, there was a bunch of other assassins too.
But are these also though? He's fighting Hydra. Why are ninjas coming after him? As I mentioned, Hydra doesn't necessarily have ninjas.
Well, they don't. Baron Zemo hired assassins outside of.
Who do you hire? The Hand?
Hydra. A bunch.
Probably.
There's like 5 organizations that are involved in hunting Punisher down right now.
But the best panel of all was when the big guy walks up to him and he takes him down, and then Matt goes, "See, you didn't have to kill him." And then he opens his hand and it's full of grenade pins, and he goes, "Oh no, I did." And then he walks away and the guy explodes.
Yep.
That was amazing. It was pretty wacky. The thing is about it is like he's done such a good job of establishing a decent reasoning for him to be going after Hydra that you can do just about anything. And he's taking on such a gigantic organization, like you said, he can hire the Hand, or he's fighting Zemo. Like, Zemo's capable of anything, and that gives you just amazing groundwork to run with Frank, because Zemo's way out of Frank's league, I would say. But is he though? He killed the Mandarin. Tony Stark's been fighting that guy for 50 years.
Right. I do really like this idea of Punisher kind of stepping up his game. Like, yeah, I could take out this Irish mobster, or I could take out Baron Zemo. Like this escalation.
Every Hydra agent I can find.
Right.
Well, it's wearing the iron suit. It's wearing the suit that really like got him wanting to go after bigger game. That's what they actually put in the summary at on issue 1. He got a taste for bigger game, and so he wants to keep going.
I love that. I love that because I've read Punisher for probably 30 years or so, right? And the idea of Punisher finally stepping up and doing something that matters, like outside of his own city, his own neighborhoods. Like I think it's great. It's a book that knows exactly what it is. And it said, I'm going to be the best at this that I can be. And I appreciate that.
I thought the Punisher 3 was very awesome. The artwork was flawless. I did love Daredevil's interaction with him, at one point calling him a sick son of a bitch. We get Nick Fury in this issue. I'm not sure how the book is doing sale-wise, but I feel like, or maybe everybody is, but I feel like it's the one issue that nobody's talking about. Like, it's a great series. I mean, it is what it is. It's a bloody mess. It's gory. But it's not to be taken away from it still being an awesome book. I mean, it's a Punisher book. Everything you'd want in a Punisher book is in this book. And the artwork, again, is just flawless.
Sale-wise, because I've been absolutely immersed in that for the last 2 days, sale-wise, it is in the top 50, which is a pretty good place to be. Like, it's not, in the top 25, but it's solidly in the middle of the top 50, which is, like I say, like, you're talking about 30,000 units moved plus, and for, that's the second issue.
Yeah.
But for a second issue, that's not bad. Like, that's pretty solid.
It's a good book, kids. Go read it. Well, maybe not kids. Maybe 15 and older.
No, they should read it. They need to learn. They're well past that with the Call of Duties and whatever the games are these days. Fortnites.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the ratings on the comics. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, not ridiculous. It should be needed, but.
I mean, I was reading Max comics, and I was like, I don't know, I was probably like 15 actually, 15 or 16, maybe older.
I was reading Morrison's Doom Patrol at like 12 or so, so they can handle it. They'll be all right.
Well, I was reading like Maximum Carnage at like 8 or 9.
I'm sorry. That explains.
I know.
So
I didn't know any better at the time.
Yeah, I was reading Morbius, and at the time that was like probably the goriest book you could find. When I was in junior high. So yeah, in the 90s. Yeah. So
yeah.
Whatever. I haven't killed anybody yet. So
interesting.
I think I.
Interesting.
Coming from one of the guys with a psychology degree, that's great.
Right.
Morbius was actually launched the month after the CCA relaxed their standards and allowed vampires to be relevant in comic books again. Like, you could say vampire again, and then Marvel was like, and here's Morbius.
And Conan. And Werewolf by Night.
Right.
You can show monsters, but you can't show blood.
Right.
That's why all the good horror magazines were in black and white.
Or with the Mary Severin blue.
Yeah.
So, Punisher is done and in the books. I haven't read number 3 yet, but I read 1 and 2. Really liked them. I'm looking forward to reading number 3. I have X-Men Red number 9 this week, which is the beginning of the end. Number 11 appears to be the final issue of X-Men Red, which is just a damn shame. And honestly,
I thought it was going through 12.
Nope, number 11.
Oh wow, that's weak. Not even 2 solid 6-issue trades. Come on, guys.
Not even. Not even the relaunch of Uncanny and the 10-week disassembled event is really throwing a wrench into a lot of X books. I think this was still a solid issue of X-Men Red. The general idea is everybody knows that Cassandra Nova is behind all the badness. Right? She launched the Sentinites. They were stopped by Trinity in the last issue. And in this issue, this is Jean Grey saying, okay, I'm going to go toe-to-toe with Cassandra Nova and take her down. Cassandra Nova has controlled Rachel Grey, formerly known as Phoenix. She's going by something else now. Prestige? It's not a great name. It's not a great look, but I'm sure that better things are ahead for Rachel.
Yeah, has it ever?
Well, that's true. That's true. So she's controlled. Rachel has pit her to fight against her mother from another timeline. And here is, kind of the build up to the throwdown. So as the issue progresses, you get the final fight between Rachel and Jean, which is okay. It's a lot of mind blasts from a distance, beautiful colors by Rain Barreto, but there's no real substance to the fight. And then Jean Grey gives herself up, says, let my daughter go, and I will stand here and I will not fight you, and I will not move, and you can destroy me or do whatever. So Cassandra foolishly lets Rachel go, and Jean Grey stands there and she gets blown up. Boom. Bye-bye, Jean Grey. Except she's not really there. Like, it's a psychic projection. Jean Grey has come back much more powerful. She's fine. It's all good. Cassandra Nova should theoretically actually have the power to blow up Jean Grey. But Jean Grey's not so dumb as to walk into the slaughter again. She's walked into the slaughter many times in her career, and she references it. And that's one of the things I love about it's one of the things I love about Tom Taylor's take on this series is he's willing to take those jokes, right? Like, you're going to fight your daughter, and you're going to fight Professor X's dead twin sister. No. JJ, stop it.
I had a question actually, because you mentioned mind blasts, and I've been
No. I know your question. The answer is no.
No, what?
Professor X really doesn't have mind blast powers.
Yeah, that was my question. He used them in that one issue of Uncanny, and it bothered me. I'm reading Uncanny for the first time. The original.
And I get it. That's not an inherent telepathic power that is linked to telekinesis, and Professor X doesn't have telekinesis, so he shouldn't be able to do that. Particularly to a Sentinel, as he did in X-Men Volume 196.
Yeah, thank you. That was my question. Sorry.
I'm with you, JJ. So Taylor's ability to kind of lighten this series, while this series is actually particularly heavy, the main point that's happening here is Trinary combing the internet, right? She's a technopath, but she's a technopath that's ahead of a Madison Jeffries, ahead of a Forge, right? She is internet savvy. She's the next generation. She's a millennial. So she is interfacing with the internet, and she's seeing all of the fake news, all of the crap headlines, all of the negativity on the internet, and trying to combat it. And that's really the heart of this whole series. So Trinary's attempts to flood the internet with Happy, right? And she's got she's got Honey Badger off on the side looking for videos of mutants playing with puppies and kittens, which I think is just absolutely beautiful. This is your job. Find puppy and kitten mutant videos. Meanwhile, we're just going to try to make the world a better place. We're going to make the world a happier place. We're going to make people feel good.
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious when Gabby was like, I finally found my calling. And it's like fighting mutant and puppy and kitty videos. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought that was really great. And I mean, that has been kind of a central theme throughout the entire series, right? Like this notion that the internet has gotten bad. And it has. You know, toxic fandom is something that we deal with on a daily basis. So the confrontation with that Taylor is doing is great. I do feel like the confrontation between Jean and sorry, I'm reading the texts from my fellow comic watchers, and it is throwing me off. I should probably just ignore those for a minute. The confrontation between Jean and Cassie Nova feels a little bit rushed to me. Like, I feel like Taylor probably had a much longer game planned out here. But with the cancellation, with the rise of Uncanny X-Men, it's being forced a little bit. I would be remiss to say, or to not say, that while I'm going to try it. Roge Antonio's art is good. I feel like it is a step back from Carmen Carnero. I'm a big Carmen Carnero fan. I feel like there's something lost kind of in the minute details with Antonio. And I apologize, Roge Antonio. I know I butchered your name. I am not a Spaniard or an Argentinian, so I can't roll my R's. I am from the South. Sorry. But I do think it's a really strong book, and I think it sucks that it's going to be canceled. But I am absolutely jacked that its cancellation means that Tom Taylor is freed up for some more Batman stuff. He's writing Batman Secret Files, which is coming out this week. And he's writing Batman Annual 3, which is coming out December 12th. So we're going to get some Tom Taylor and some DC other than Injustice, which I think is a great thing because Taylor really gets how to write comic books well. Yeah, I think that he's one of the strongest writers out there right now as far as being able to integrate action and comedy and social commentary all together. And I love that. And we will not be one of those podcasts that accidentally calls him Tom King instead of Tom Taylor, which he just tweeted out a few days ago. That's
actually in one of our episodes you did.
Shut up. Edit that out.
Going forward, we will not be one of those podcasts.
Will never happen. Has never happened. If you thought it happened, you're wrong.
Okay. Wait, if we go and re-edit it and re-upload it, correct. I really enjoyed the X-Men Red. I really like the colors in this issue. I don't know if it's always been kind of the same, but I paid more attention to this one than I had previously. I love Gabby and her, well, I destroyed the moon and became a queen, so I have experience comment. She's just really charming. Her response to Trinary and Gentle's light flirting, saying to Lauren, I can't feel pain, but this is painful to watch. That stuff's hilarious. That's gold right there. Tom really gets these characters, and I am sad to see this go because Mr. Taylor does such a good job at this series.
And Taylor has been pretty instrumental in Gabby becoming what she is with his all-new Wolverine series. And that's pretty cool. His all-new Wolverine series is pretty good.
I like I think this is the second time in the Red series where Jean Grey has mentioned, like, somebody says something about this being weird, and Jean's just like, we're X-Men, weird is what we do, or, something to that effect.
Right.
It's just totally true. I was talking to my brother about it a couple days ago. We're just like talking about Mr. and Mrs. X, and just like, I don't one of the things that kind of got me away from X-Men comics in the 90s was just the timeline stuff and all the sci-fi stuff. At the same time, I actually really just like it. I still like it. I just it's just kind of funny. I like it and I don't. But when I'm reading the comics, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Or playing like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance or X-Men Legends game, I'm totally happy when they go science fiction. It's just weird.
No, I mean, like, and that's something that JJ, as you embark on your Claremont journey, you're going to discover. Like, there are things that are absolutely absurd. Jean was never Phoenix. She was in a cocoon under Lake Ontario or whatever fucking lake that was, and you're gonna roll with it. Like, there's gonna be a point where you're gonna be like, yeah, she was, because this is the X-Men, and everything is possible, and anything is possible. Like, that Claremont run opens with them fighting basically Dracula, and then 2 issues later, they kill a character who never comes back. Thunderbird is still dead.
Yeah,
Thunderbird was a dick.
He kind of was, but I mean,
Thunderbird was never going to work in that team. It felt so manufactured. Full disclosure for people, and this is a much beloved run. I'm reading Claremont's X-Men run for the first time. I'm like 4 issues in right now. Thunderbird was. I do agree that it's pretty amazing that a comic character actually died and stayed dead, but it did feel a little bit manufactured and telegraphed from the start. And going in, I knew the Thunderbird was going to die, so I never got too attached to him. But I don't think we got enough Thunderbird to ever become attached to him. You never even found out for sure what his power set was. Like, is he super strong? What is it?
I thought that was brilliant. Like, I personally, I mean, like, I read it, after I had read X-Men for a long time, but I thought that was brilliant. Like, what is he? What is Thunderbird? I don't know, but he dead.
And he did. He blew up on a Harrier jump jet with Captain Nefarious.
Right.
I read that literally yesterday.
I did not. I picked up Uncanny X-Men right around the Marauders era, so like early 200s, maybe late 100s. I'm not that old, thanks.
Yeah, he started way earlier than I expected to be writing through the 90s. He started in like 75 and wrote it for about 20 years. I'm actually kind of looking forward to, I'm going to be reading, as I mentioned in last podcast, I'm currently reading every Marvel superhero comic ever. And I decided that rather than, because usually what I do is I jump around 10 issues at a time to keep everything in a relative continuity. So, I try to read all the 68 issues and then all the 68 issues. So Spider-Man and then X-Men and then Hulk and then Avengers and then Captain Marvel started in 68 and Doctor Strange got his solo series in 68, his first solo series. But I did decide I'm going to read Uncanny X-Men in one singular run because it is so revered by everybody, and so far I do like it. I feel like he's done a good job of setting up stories that I know are coming. I know just what I know from being surrounded by X-Men fans most of my life. I've never been an X-Men fan, and I figure if our Bezo does a lot of these I'm not a fan of the Fantastic Four, and I'm going to read all the a bunch of Fantastic Four and figure out what they're all about. And I'm going to read 200 issues of X-Men and see what I think. And Brian, that's an amazing thing to do. Like, if you don't like a character, rather than ragging on them every chance you get forever, fucking go out and read some comics and shut the fuck up. Like, people who don't like Ironheart, like just because it's a female Iron Man. Like read some Ironheart. Like totally awesome Hulk. I hate the concept, but at the same time, at some point, I'm gonna read every totally awesome Hulk, appearance and form my own opinion. And that's what I'm doing with X-Men right now. Is to me, I've read all the Silver Age X-Men issues at this point, and besides the Roy Thomas issues, I wasn't super impressed. But
No, they were terrible. They were mostly really hard to read. They introduced a lot of concepts that were great, but the execution of those issues were not very good.
yeah, exactly. Like the Lee issues are terrible. Not terrible, but they're unnecessarily dense. Lee was kind of notorious for if a character appeared in a panel, they needed to have a line or two of dialogue. Um, and that really shows in X-Men. And unfortunately, when you have 5 or 6 characters on panel, it leads to one panel with 200 words in it a lot of the time.
Yep.
And even Jack Kirby on art can't save that from appearing as a train wreck. But I feel like Roy Thomas started to pull the series out of the dregs, and Steranko, prior to Roy Thomas, definitely had some definitely noteworthy work.
Yeah.
But I'm just now starting the Claremont era, which is considered by pretty much universally to be an incredible run. And I'm gonna draw my own conclusions as I do.
One of the beauties, and like I'm actually a little bit jealous, but like one of the beauties of the Claremont run is that he had the time. He knew that nobody was gonna take X-Men away from him until, they took X-Men away from him. So he had the time to slow burn some side stories. So he was able to plant a seed here, plant a seed there, and let it grow.
Which I can definitely appreciate, not having read the stories necessarily, but I know the legendary X-Men stories that I haven't read, like God Loves, Man Kills, Age of Apocalypse, what have you. And so I definitely it's like as I might have mentioned with Brubaker. I recently read Brubaker's entire Daredevil run, and there's a 10-issue arc he does from issues 95 through 105, where it turns out at the end that the villain is Mr. Fear, and the first line of the arc is the city is beginning to feel fear again. Likewise, there are arcs in his Cap run, which I also recently read the entire thing of, where the first line of the arc and the last line of the arc are the same. Like the first line of the arc appears initially to be a throwaway line of dialogue and ends up at the end being something pivotal to the story. And that is incredible. That
Yeah.
I can't rave enough about Brubaker. I'm probably approaching having read just about everything he's ever written at this point. I've read his entire Batman run, his entire Daredevil run, his entire I've read all of Criminal. I've read all of Incognito. We need a third arc of Incognito. Right now, Zack Slaughter is still in jail. Brubaker, on the off chance you ever see this video, do a third Incognito arc, please. I need closure.
Did you read Sleeper?
Yeah, I have the entire series of Sleeper. Oh my god, it's just
mind-blowing. Sleeper
oh.
Sleeper to me is like Brubaker at his absolute best.
Oh, the finale of Sleeper is unbelievable. And I am digressing a little bit here, but just Brubaker is untouchable. I can't say that I've ever read an arc from him I don't adore. Like Bruce Wayne Murderer and Fugitive is hands down one of the better post-crisis era Batman stories, and it's one that nobody talks about. Like Batman gets accused of murder and ends up, fighting to clear his name. And I won't spoil the ending for you, but it's something that truly comes out of left field. Derp's hung up on us.
It's like I'm done.
But I am noticing some seeds like that from Claremont, which I'll give it to him. I've read mostly late career Claremont stuff as of now. His 12-issue Alien versus Predator miniseries is widely considered one of the worst Alien versus Predator miniseries. And likewise, just pretty recent stuff. I don't know enough about him to seek his work out, so I haven't read much of it post X-Men.
Right. Well, like his and John Byrne's reunion on JLA. So like they didn't reunion in X-Men because Marvel has whatever they have against John Byrne. But the JLA run was just terrible. It was just terrible. And I mean, like Claremont, I've met him a couple of times in my life. He's a wonderful man. Like he is kind and sweet and accommodating, but his work past like 1992 was very hit and miss. But you're getting ready to get into, the power of Proteus. You're getting ready to get into the Phoenix Saga, Days of Futures Past, the Brood stories, the development of Kitty Pryde. Like you're getting ready to get into some really, really great iconic comic shit. And that's like I'm almost jealous because you get to go on this journey now as an adult. And I went on this journey, many, many, many years ago. So it should be really interesting. I hope you do write it up. Brian just wrote up his experience with Superman after we assigned him a whole bunch of Superman books.
I will say I like it enough. I've been bringing my tablet with me to work and reading it on lunches, which I don't usually do. So I've been enjoying it enough for that, and I'm just like 4 or 5 issues in. And I'm also just trying to get it read. Maybe Brian, I will take that next big whatever you've been calling your article series, and I'll do one on Claremont X-Men.
There is no series that I'm trying to go. It's just an idea kind of comes in. It's just commentary, like Fantastic Four. To be honest, the delays are ruining my Fantastic Four. They've already been kind of forgotten. And then the other one was just I didn't see what the big deal about Superman was, which actually my article will be released this Friday. So go check it out.
I love those.
Comic Watch.
I love your article series on that, by the way, and I love that you're discovering those series. And again, I love the fact that there's a series and you say, I don't understand what's to like about this character, and rather than just saying that over and over again on every single post you can find, you go out and read 50 issues or however many issues you like to read. And that's an amazing thing because what I do is if there's a character I don't like and someone says, oh, well, you just haven't read the right stories. Here's some stories. I'll go out and read those stories.
Yeah.
Like Punisher, I wasn't super into Punisher, so I read the entire Max series.
Read before you rag, right?
Right.
Exactly. It's kind of my token hashtag is read before you rag. We have some friends who like to complain about issues that haven't even come out yet, and I'm like, at least reserve judgment until you've had a chance to read an issue, even if you don't buy it. Like, just you gotta know what you're talking about before you start talking crap about something that you don't know about.
Yeah, I think you should write an article on it on your X-Men journey.
I'll do that. Actually, I like that idea.
It's actually really fun, and you kind of rediscover, even when you're writing, you're completely rediscovering what you were reading, and it kind of helps it all come together, whether you end up liking it or still hating it. But it just, as a writer, it helps you so much more just kind of coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a good idea. I will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure of reading Brian's Superman article before it comes out, as in my capacity as an editor for Comic Watch. So I went through it and cleaned up all of his crazy grammar and typos.
No, grammar yes, typos yes, grammar no.
There were some grammar issues, but that's okay. Subject verb agreement, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it was a great article. Like at the end of it, you feel like I felt like as a lifelong Superman fan, like he got it.
Maybe.
And that to
Maybe I
me
got
is a wonderful feeling. Like to be able to see somebody who's like, I don't get it. Say, all right, this is what I think it is.
Yeah.
And to feel like, yeah, yes, 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 that is it. I love that.
It's like when you're doing math and you finally get fractions. You're all, hell yeah, man. I never got that
Yes.
feeling, but I hear it's like that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's why I have degrees in English.
Yeah.
But so I think we've done a great job of looking at what came out in actually a pretty light week. This was a light week. This upcoming week is a light week. We'll probably spotlight Witching Hour next
It was
week.
actually kind of a heavy week for my indie books, but I already did my indie show. This week I covered, what did I cover? I covered Aliens Dust to Dust, a couple Scout books, a couple Image books. You know, and I had a good indie week, but yeah, my big 2 week, I think it was like 4 books, which is not much for me. Usually I average like 5 to 8 books from every publisher, or from the big 2.
Right. So this upcoming week in our future watch, what's coming out this week? We lost Herbs, unfortunately. He had a technical issue. But what's coming out this week that's got you kind of excited?
For me, Heroes in Crisis #2 is coming out. StarCraft Scavengers, the final issue is coming out, and there's one other one. I was like, oh. I'm gonna throw X-Men Emma Frost in there, but I can't say I'm thrilled with it because I've been less than happy with the Black Series.
I'm getting. I'm excited for X-Men, or not X-Men. Marvel 2-in-1 #11 comes out. Arbizo, if you're feeling Fantastic Four withdrawals, go read Zdarsky's 2-in-1. It is phenomenal. It's ending soon due to editorial pressure to make it so Fantastic Four is the only book, which is bullshit. But
Yeah.
Zdarsky, I feel like, did all the legwork to get the Fantastic Four back, and then Dan Slott rolled up and got he's an exclusive writer, so he got and after he left Spider-Man, he did another big flagship book, and he got the Fantastic Four, and I feel like he took a lot of what Zdarsky had going and threw it in the mud and made his own series, which sucks, because Zdarsky was crafting an amazing series that is going to be forgotten as a result of what Dan Slott is doing right now with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the other killer with that is, Fantastic Four is a top seller. But 2-in-1 is down, 100, like in the 100 to 150 range in sales.
But if they had launched a cohesive Fantastic Four from Zdarsky that followed what they had established in 2-in-1, it would still be a top 25 book.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It's Slott's not cruising on his name. Who cares about Slott right now? But he's cruising on the fact that there hasn't been a Fantastic Four book in a few years, and he's driving that into the ground by having one issue every 2-3 months, and delays and problems with the book. And like I said, Zdarsky has done a lot of great, amazing groundwork for the Fantastic Four to come back, and that's all going to get thrown to the wayside because Slott has his own plan, which, while not a bad plan, is completely throwing Zdarsky's plan out the window, which means that there's 10 issues to date out that are meaningless. 11 issues with an annual, but
it will be 12.
Well, it will be 12 issues plus an annual when he's done.
Right.
But to me, the 2-in-1 series is, and I'm sure that they're going to scramble and do some legwork to make it line up with the Fantastic Four in these last 2 issues. But as of last issue, which I assume was written and drawn before the Fantastic Four came back, they had actually had Sue return, because what it dealt with was the Fantastic Four losing their powers when they weren't together. And so Johnny and Ben were slowly losing their powers as they traveled the multiverse looking for Reed and Sue. And it's an amazing series. And it's gonna be just thrown to the wayside so that Dan Slott can turn in an issue when he feels like it and completely ignore it.
I'm not sure that it's Dan Slott's fault.
I'm gonna blame Dan Slott.
Yeah, I'm not ready to blame Dan Slott, but I'm not ready to name drop. But yeah, so 2-in-1, number 11 comes out tomorrow. The finale of Witching Hour comes out tomorrow. Stranger Things number 2, a little bit more Dark Horse love because Dark Horse seems like they might need it these days. So StarCraft 4, Stranger Things number 2.
Ice Cream Man number 8 comes out tomorrow also.
Right, yep. A lot
really
of indie
excited for
books. There's a Deathstroke, one of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I don't remember which one. But
Huckleberry something?
Huckleberry Hound?
I don't think it's Huckleberry Hound, but maybe. But there's a handful of the Hanna-Barbera DC one-shots that come out. Oh, no. Come on now. Those Hanna-Barbera, they're great. Elmer Fudd and Batman is one of the great comics. There was one good one.
Generation. That's the one everybody talks. There's been 20 of them, and everybody talks about that one.
That was great.
Okay, so there's one good issue out of 20.
The Catwoman Tweety Bird was great.
Was it though?
It was. It really was.
It was Green Lantern and Huckleberry Hound, and then Deathstroke is with Yogi Bear. I can't.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
I will not be buying that.
No.
I will. Maybe I'll review it just to show you guys how wrong you are.
Who's writing it? If it's Priest, it might be good, but
it's not Priest.
It's probably like some lesser human. I don't know who. Oh, that was mean. I'm not gonna say that.
Look, they're all lesser humans compared to Priest, but so yeah, it's a week. It's a Halloween week. You can all look forward to our Cursed Comics Cavalcade review coming out tomorrow as a Halloween special.
Yeah, it's 5th week.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were holding on to it for Halloween because Halloween is Halloween. There is a Avengers Halloween special coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
How much is it? Like $14?
I think it's $4.99. Come on,
that's too much. Well, DC's been doing the Prestige books at $10. That was a joke. I actually like the Prestige books. I didn't like the Cursed Comics Cavalcade as much, but if you can get a hold of it, the Beach Blankets Bad Guy special from the summer was amazingly good. It was an amazing mix of. It was some good humor mixed with some good character moments from DC villains you might not generally get a spotlight on. So it was really fun. There is a winter one coming out next month, I believe.
Yeah, Nuclear Winter, end of next month. And there's also from Marvel, Seasons Beatings coming out next month, or maybe beginning of December. And a X-Men holiday special, Merry X-Men Christmas or whatever.
Merry Xmas.
And then they'll show up and ruin everything, calling it. And
it will have 25 stories in it. Mm-hmm. Like that's
how many pages each?
I don't know. But the Justice League Aquaman Drown Earth series number 1 kicks off this week as well.
Derbs is back.
Derbs.
Hi.
Welcome back.
We missed you.
All right, now to close out the show.
Bye.
Sure. Anything you're excited about next week?
Oh shoot.
Or tomorrow, I should say.
Yeah, tomorrow, right? Not really. I spent so much money on comics last month. I'm just not thinking about my hold because I can't afford to pick anything up. So I'm just
Tomorrow's
looking at
payday for me. I'm going for broke.
Yeah, my LCS had their annual Halloween blowout, and so I spent more money than I should have.
I closed all my 52 gaps. Except for,
Nice.
I need week 51. If anybody out there has week 52, week 51, I need it.
I'll take a look.
I have everything else now. I have 51 out of 52 issues. I got some doubles now. They're going to the Secret Santa.
Yes.
All right, guys, we are at the end of the show. Does anybody else have anything closing real quick? Takers? No. Okay.
Oh, I will be, one thing. I will be recording tomorrow a new comic book day video. It's going to be a new thing. I'm going to try to do every Wednesday where I walk the shop and talk about the new books that are coming out and uploading on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to hear it and see it. Make sure you check out Comic Watch YouTube channel to make sure that you see all of our shows. There's so much more coming on the YouTube channel. As always, make sure you check out comicwatch.com to see all of our press releases, all of our reviews, and all that good stuff. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure that you check out episode number 8 coming to you next week. I think that is it. Make sure that you check out the Comic Watchers Show on Facebook. Like us, or thumbs down and like us. Say you hate us, and then unsubscribe, or do whatever. We don't care. We just want to hear from everybody.
Thanks for watching, as always.
Yes, and as always, if you've made it to this point, we're sorry.
We do apologize.